So I'm going to be speaking very briefly, because I want to mostly hear from you. I am here because these past several years mark a new era of you. Engagement in the region, in the Americas. We're not just nations, but we're also neighbors. Millions of people in the United States are bound to the Americas through ties of commerce and family. Thousands of Argentinians study in the United States every year. Hundreds of U.S. companies employ thousands of people here in Argentina. And we're committed to expanding those ties of leadership and scholarship and trade. And I'm here in Argentina because I'm impressed with many of the reforms that have been initiated by President Macri in recent weeks, his effort to reconnect Argentina to the world community. And to lay the groundwork for a more sustainable and inclusive economy. He inherited a tough economic situation, just as I did when I first came into office. He's working to make it better. And in fact, to show their confidence in this new direction. U.S. companies are announcing tens of millions of dollars in new investment in Argentina. And I'm launching a new dialogue to strengthen business ties between our countries. So the United States welcomes Argentina's leadership role not just in the region, but in the world. Because to solve today's challenges, we have to be partners. Somos un equipo. I got to practice my Spanish. But it's critical that we work together. And that's one of the reasons why the US has started a new chapter with our relationship. with Cuba. I was honored to be the first U.S. president to visit Cuba in almost 90 years. And we still have differences with the Cuban government, but what I said to President Castro is we can't be imprisoned by the past. When something doesn't work for 50 years, we have to try something new. And I believe that engagement and dialogue is more powerful than isolation. And that the changes that we're making can improve the lives of the Cuban people. And all of the people of the Americas deserve the right to speak and gather freely. And access the world's information, and participate in forums like this. And so we hope that that will happen in Cuba. We hope that will happen everywhere in the world. But ultimately, it's going to be up to the Cuban people. Just like it's up to sovereign peoples everywhere to be able to find their own voice and create democracy and freedom. We can be partners in that, and we can help. And this new beginning is going to be good, I think, for the entire hemisphere. Part of my goal is to move past the old debates that have defined this region. Move forward in a way that benefits your generation. And unlike any other time in history, the technology at your disposal means that you don't have to settle for the world as it is, you can create the world as you want it to be. You already have the freedom to build a world in powerful and disruptive ways. That's why we're going to spend a lot of time in the coming months in building more vibrant connections between young people. 5 years ago I started an initiative called 100,000 Strong in the Americas. And by the end of this decade, we want 100,000 US students studying in the Americas. And we want 100,000 students from the Americas studying in the United States. And today I'm proud to announce that that effort is growing here in Argentina. Partners like INET and CAF Development Bank in Latin America have committed to increase student exchanges between our technical colleges. And I want to thank President Macri for committing to 1,000 new exchanges. And finally, last year I launched what we call the Young Leaders of the America Initiative. And we're seeking out the most innovative young entrepreneurs and civil society leaders. And giving them a chance to earn the training and the connections and the capital that you need to make a difference. So this year I'll welcome the first full class of fellows to Washington. We're going to help them expand their commercial and social ventures by embedding them in you. S businesses and incubators and nonprofits and universities. We're going to give US participants the chance to continue their collaboration with you back in your home countries. And that's how we want to empower all young people. That's how we want to empower young women like Celeste. It's how we create a future where climate researchers in the Amazon collaborate with scientists in Alaska. Where an idea in Buenos Aires can develop with an incubator in Boston. It's how we can make sure that we create a future where any young person can choose a path that opens his or her opportunities beyond their neighborhood into the wider world. It's where a young person can learn skills in the state of West Virginia in the United States. And put them to work right here in Argentina. So, Gino Tubero, who's here today? Where's Gino? Somewhere. There we go. All right, Gino. So Gino is a great example. He was tinkering with 3D printing as a teenager when, through the US Embassy, he participated in a national youth science camp in West Virginia. Then he learned about the latest 3D printing technology. When he came home to Argentina, he co-founded a company that used these new skills to work. He received a request from a woman looking for a prosthetic hand for her young son, Felipe. And typically, those hands can cost tens of thousands of American dollars. Gino printed a new hand for Felipe for far less. Just a few weeks later, for the first time, Felipe could ride a bike. Go fishing, do many of the things that normal children do. And since then, more than 1,000 Argentinians have signed up for Gino's help. So that's what's possible when we work together. That's what's possible when we invest in young people like all of you. So I am very proud to be here. I'm excited. For your questions. I'm excited for our conversation. As you heard, my Spanish is not as good as it should be. But we have a translator here so you can ask questions in English or in Spanish. and I will answer them as best I can. And we have about an hour. Perguntenma. Let's go. All right? Who wants to go first? This young man right here. You. Introduce yourself, please. Question, Mr. President, I wanted to ask you the following question. We live in a world where cultures often clash instead of coexisting peacefully. Where some believe their very survival depends on the eradication of others. Where intolerance and violence have become a currency, and people are forced to abandon everything and flee their homes. A drama which I believe will characterize much of this century's history. My question is this: do you think all of the different human cultures will eventually unify or converge on a unique and universal culture? Something like perhaps something akin to the United Federation of Planets in TV series Star Trek? I do not seek a scientific answer, just the honest opinion of a man who as president of one of the world's leading countries, has been given a privileged point of view on that matter. Thank you. President Obama, that's an interesting question. Thank you. I believe that under the surface all people are the same. Now part of that is my own heritage and my own background. My father was a black man from Africa. My mother was a white woman in the United States, whose ancestors had come from England and Scotland. My mother remarried, and then we moved to Indonesia. So I have a half-sister who is Asian. I have nieces who are half Chinese. And so in my own family. I've got the genetic strains of everybody. And it gives me confidence that's been reinforced. As president, that people are all essentially the same. Similar hopes, similar dreams, similar strengths, similar weaknesses. But we're also all bound by history and culture and habits. And so conflicts arise, in part, because of some weaknesses in human nature. When we feel threatened, then we like to strike out against people who are not like us. When change is happening too quickly. And we try to hang on to those things that we think could give us a solid foundation. And sometimes the organizing principles are around issues like race, or religion. When there are times of scarcity, then people can turn on each other. And so I don't underestimate the very real challenges that we continue to face. And I don't think it is inevitable that the world comes together in a common culture and common understanding. But overall, I am hopeful. And the reason I'm hopeful is if you look at the trajectory of history, humanity has slowly improved. Not in a straight line, sometimes you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. But if anybody here was asked the question, what moment in human history would you want to be born? And you didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be born in the United States or in Namibia. You didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be male or female, born into a wealthy family or a poor family. So all you knew was what moment in history would give you the best chance for the best life you would choose today. Because the world is wealthier than it's ever been. It is better educated than it's ever been. It is more tolerant of differences than it's ever been. It's more connected than it's ever been. It's healthier than it's ever been. We live longer than we ever have. We have better dental care than we ever have.